Yakuza Like a Dragon changes up the Yakuza formula a lot with the introduction of a new main character, new areas, and of course, a host of new systems. It's enough to make new players and franchise veterans alike feel overwhelmed. Well, luckily for you, I've had Yakuza Like a Dragon since January of this year, and so today I'm able to give you my top tips based on the over 100 hours I've had with the game so that you can get the most out of this latest entry in the Yakuza franchise. Before we get into the video, I do just want to remind you that you can find links to all of my Yakuza Like a Dragon coverage in the video description below. I've covered the battle system, the job system, and more. Also, if you have any questions about this video or any of my other content, feel free to jump in and ask me in my stream. I stream almost every day, link in the description, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. But enough of that, let's talk about my top tips, starting with what is probably the most important tip I can give you: complete the business management minigame and its accompanying substories immediately. Oh, and just real quick, these aren't necessarily going to be in any particular order, I just wanted to start with this one since it's so important. So why is it important, you might ask? Well, a couple of reasons. First, in Yakuza Like a Dragon, you are going to need a lot of money for things like crafting weapons and armor to summoning your delivery help allies, and it just so happens that the best way to make money is through the business management minigame. However, the biggest reason you want to complete it is to recruit the only optional party member, Eddie. The reason that you want to do this as soon as possible is because not too long after business management unlocks, you will lose one of your party members for a pretty significant chunk of the game, and at the time that this happens, the next character to join you as part of the story will still be a few chapters away, meaning if you don't recruit Eddie, you will quickly find yourself stuck with only 3 party members for quite a while. Substories are very important as they are a good source of materials that you can use to craft weapons and armor, and they are the primary way in which you unlock new delivery help summons for use in battle. Substories are also a valuable source of human parameter stats for Ichiban, which are necessary to unlock even more substories, certain vendors, and are required to gain access to certain jobs. Even if you are someone who just wants to push the main story, it is highly advised that you take the time to do any substories that you can. The alternative is paying a lot of money to take tests. Literally. Yakuza Like a Dragon introduces a sort of Persona-esque relationship system with your party members. Each one has a relationship experience bar that fills up as you use them in battle, eat food with them, listen to optional character dialogue while traversing the world, etc. Once the relationship bar is full, you can then go to the bar survivor to see a fully voiced scene with them that helps to flesh out their character, and allows you to then continue gaining experience towards improving your relationship with them even further. The primary reason this is important, outside of just getting to know your party members better, is that many jobs require you to have a certain relationship level with a party member for them to even be able to use the job. Fairly early into your adventure, you will be sent to the job placement offices of Hello Work as part of the main story. This is where you come in order to change the jobs of your characters. As soon as you can, make Ichiban a demolitionist. You don't actually have to use the job. In fact, you can switch him to something else immediately. However, if you don't make him a demolitionist, even if only for a moment, then certain parts of the game world, as well as areas in the game's dungeons, will be inaccessible to you. You see, occasionally you will find walls that look like they can be broken down. And they can, assuming you've made Ichiban a demolitionist and unlocked the exploration passive that allows you to do so. Investing in the game's crafting system is definitely something you're going to want to do. On easier difficulties, you can get by with just the weapons and equipment available to you from the various shops in the game. However, for harder difficulties and post-game content, you will want the best stuff, and all of the best weapons and equipment come from crafting. But you will need to do some investing, as when the crafting system first becomes available, what you'll have access to is pretty bare bones. But that isn't anything that a little money can't fix. Just give Sumire, the one who will actually be doing your crafting for you, the money she asks for, and her facilities will be upgraded, allowing you to craft better and better things. When you start to explore parts of the game world outside of the initial area that you start in, you will quickly realize just how big Yakuza Like a Dragon's new area actually is. Luckily, the game has a fast travel system in which you can catch a cab to other parts of the map. The kicker is though, you can only fast travel this way to somewhere you have already been, and taxis aren't registered as a place you've been unless you actually interact with them first. So every time you see a taxi, just make sure you run up to it and interact with it just in case. This next one is less of a tip and more advice, but you should make sure that you are getting access to the shock damage type and abilities that can charm opponents, as both of these are incredibly useful. Charm will cause an enemy to just stand there and do nothing. It lasts for what feels like forever, and oftentimes doesn't even fall off even when you're sitting there beating on a charmed enemy. As for shock, it can cause paralysis, which also renders the enemy unable to act, but also disables their ability to block, something enemies really love to do in the later stages of the game. Also, the hardest enemy in the game is resistant to every damage type except for shock, to which he's actually weak against. So yeah, shock is good. And finally, a little bit of self-promotion, but do be sure to watch my video covering the best jobs in Yakuza Like a Dragon. In it, I go over what the best jobs are for each party member, and provide my reasonings for the choices that I made. At the very least, it should provide some extra insight into the game with which you can use to make your own decisions for your playthrough. And there you have it, my top tips for Yakuza Like a Dragon. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful and informative. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. And a reminder that if you have any questions, you can find me on my Twitch channel or my Discord server, both of which are linked in the video description. Or you can simply just leave a comment here on the video and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. Until next time, take care.